All right, welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and we got our trailer for Saints and Sinners. Don't go anywhere. I want to mention one thing, and then you can bounce if you want. I think Overkill's The Walking Dead was a game previously released where they did these, or they released these cinematic trailers that were gorgeous. If they were just a movie by themselves, oh my God, put me down. Give me 2 tickets, a plus one. I'm taking someone at a theater to see that. That looks righteous. But when the gameplay came out and the type of game, the fan base, it got so bad. Skybound had to literally go in and say, nope, we're pulling their license. No more. They had to shut everything down. I mean, it didn't even make it to console, I believe. It was just about to come out to console, and they pulled it. Anyhow, it was that bad. And the fan reaction was so vicious. It was just nothing but anger and disappointment and a heavy amount of annoyance that they got all these gorgeous cinematic trailers. And in my eye, I thought, man, that's building a level of distrust. And I tell you what, I think it's here. I think Overkill's The Walking Dead plus AMC's The Walking Dead, their really bad game back in the day, I think that's wearing down on the gamer community, because when I did the reveal for what AMC was hinting at on Twitter, my audience retention on the back end, it'll give you these warnings if something's off. And I got this little warning, and I looked, and it stated that it got as bad as 80 to 85% of people who are watching were watching, everything's good. And the moment in the analytics, the moment I said it's a Walking Dead video game, I said it's a Walking Dead VR. I don't know if it's VR as soon as those words left my mouth, Walking Dead VR video game, the audience retention, 80 to 85% of people left. They were like, no, I'm good. I'm out. Now, that could just be a huge number of people who weren't gamers, but from listening to feedback, I think The Walking Dead and I love Skybound, great people, and if they take anything from this, go to Skydance tomorrow, send them a message ASAP, and tell them from this point on, always include a little snippet of gameplay at the end of your shit. You don't want fans getting hyped again and then disappoint them with gameplay. If you show them right off the rip, don't tell them you don't got it. The Last of Us is coming out in February, and they got a shit ton of shit, and their shit looks a lot better than this. This is a really cartoon version. That's a little disappointing. I do give them props on how cool the little mini story they do in this trailer, but I don't give a shit about a cutscene trailer anymore. I agree with the rest of you guys who are fed up with cutscene trailers. This girl gets a book bag, and shit pops off, and they gotta flee. And the neighbor comes and grabs the book bag. She drops it on the ground. The neighbor is a firefighter. He comes in and grabs the book bag with the med kit, and he leaves. Now, this is the girl, her unicorn patch, and he walks away, but he puts on his firefighter patch, and then someone just tries to rob him out of nowhere for a book bag, which this part I will say was really weird because she doesn't know what's in that book bag. I'm sure if it's the apocalypse, whatever is in that bag is vital to your survival, but she is stabbed in the leg and literally fighting away from walkers, and she's barely doing anything but reaching for the book bag. Yeah, she gets jabbed in the thigh with a stick, and she's fighting a man who's twice her size, and she's reaching for the bag instead of doing anything else. You are on your back. A guy who's twice your size is straddling you, and you're just gonna reach for the book bag that's not going anywhere. It's chilling. I just thought this scene was this was just cinematic wise and the placement and all that. I get what they did, but it's weird. So the guy gets eaten. Firefighter gets eaten. And then she walks off and turns into a walker. That is cool. And then she gets jabbed in the head with a axe. Bam. And then the person that finds the book bag is the original owner of the book. That's how I read it. Because she's wearing the same necklace as earlier. See here? Same necklace. She has long hair and a ponytail. At first, I know it's easy in this climate to say, oh, great, they're going butch look or something weird look. I see this as zombies are grabbing long hair. It's probably more along the lines of that to keep it really low. And she's a bit hardened. She has her axe here and she walks off. And again, you get Saints and Sinners. January 23, 2020. I do like the idea that you can play the game and do things based on being good or bad. Hence, Saints or Sinners. I hope that's not a gimmick. I hope it's legit. You can be bad, or good. But long story short, I don't give a damn about the game. I'm sorry. I don't care. First off, we'll get into VR in a second, but let me just say, I don't care because it's a cutscene, and I've been burned so many times by games and their cutscenes, and then when they show the gameplay and talk about what it's about, it's something I have zero interest in. And then I almost build up a resentment because it was like I was, along for the ride, when if you would have just from the rip showed an image of what the gameplay looked like, I would have been like either yes or no, that's up my alley, or an idea of what the game, a clear idea, not you could do good things or bad things, So I'm going to have to just wait until they do gameplay. It's got to be any month now, because like I said, it's coming out in January, so any month now they'll have gameplay. But it's got to blow my mind for me to get VR. VR is expensive from what I hear. I love the idea. One day I would love to grab some VR and goof around with it. But what we see from VR, though, it just doesn't look like it's at the point where I'd be interested in. It needs a little more work and a little more improvement. Some of the playing it looks a little clunky, and I'm just not interested in putting that money down to go the VR route. To finish this out in another message to Skybound, if by chance they would hear me at all, fans are begging with every fiber of their being for a either open world, Days Gone style The Walking Dead game, or Last of Us style where you have open world maps, but you control the flow and you tunnel the levels, so to speak, depending on the story. You would probably outsell anything you've ever done when it comes to video games with just that. Taking Walking Dead, but you would need to do it proper. It'd take a few years. But Walking Dead, either open world or big levels, and do it similar to The Last of Us. Here's the secret, you don't need mind-blowing stories too. You don't need a mind-blowing narrative. If you take the comic world of The Walking Dead and you do some type of style to it, give it some type of flair, not overboard like Borderlands, but that actually might be pretty cool because of the thick lines. Not overboard like Borderlands, but with a little touch of that. You know what I mean? With the thick lines and colors that pop. That's very, 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 very important. Don't do grays. Don't do muted colors. Don't fake the post-apocalypse. It is the beautiful contradiction. I say this all the time, and I coined that phrase. Because apocalypse, the look of a post-apocalypse, unless it's a wasteland, like a desert wasteland, it is a beautiful contradiction. Because it's devastation, rubble, vines, overgrowth, Mother Nature taking back the streets, destroying the streets, turning it into just rubble, a path of rubble with flowers and weeds and grass and whatever growing out of it. It's buildings that are toppling over, skyscrapers that have shattered windows and parts missing, and you name it. It's all that. You see areas like that in real life, not faked up for TV. You see it in real life, and it is a beautiful contradiction because of the violent, destructive, just symbolic essence of what a post-apocalyptic landscape is. But it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The greens are green, the flowers pop, the birds flying around. Listen, put that in a video game, and you'll have to beat them off with a stick because you won't be able to sell your collector's editions fast enough. I'll do you one better. Put Clem and AJ in it, and you're on your way. You know why? Clem is hurt. She's wounded. The beginning of the game could be you finding out and knowing about a way to get her a foot, a foot that she can use that could be incorporated later in the game, where surprise, you get to play as Clem. She's got like this cool looking robot foot, kind of, sort of, you know what I mean? Not too out there, but it's enough to where she can move around and get it in. And you trade off with the characters, again, once or twice in the game towards the end, but give that to the viewers as like this surprise, but have AJ running it and have him, and it will be almost like paying homage to The Walking Dead with Clem and Lee, because originally it was with Telltale. Lee was taking care, you were taking care of Clementine, and then eventually you became Clementine, and then you were taking care of AJ, and then Telltale, it ends its run with AJ and Clementine, and Clementine lost her leg, and now when you go into the new game outside of that world, if you're able to, it almost comes full circle in this really warped but beautiful way, where you're back protecting Clementine again, to a degree, because she's very capable, but again, she has a disability that would be devastating for the post-apocalypse. Bandits, zombies, hordes, you name it. But then as AJ, as like a sibling, best friend, as someone who has a lot of love for Clementine, you are protective in that way. And then a big chunk of the game would be on that, and then, where the story goes after that. It doesn't matter. It's not going to happen. I'm just saying. Nice ideas. Or nice thoughts. For me as a fan, I'd be interested. It doesn't matter. Thoughts and opinions in the comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.